Let's talk about treatment for child behavior problems. I'm an expert at that. My name is Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principles self-government. And in this video, we are talking about solving childhood behavior problems. In this video, we're going to talk about some of those behavior problems that are especially difficult, and then we're going to talk about a way where you can create clear expectations, consistent parenting, calm leadership in your home to help your children choose to take ownership of their own behaviors, accept their consequences, learn to communicate with you effectively. That's a long list of things, right? But we're going to do it here in this video next. So let's talk about the child behavior problems that you might be facing. I know I could never list all of them, but I'm pretty acquainted with many childhood behavior problems. I have raised 4 biological children of my own and many treatment children as I was a therapeutic treatment care parent for troubled teens for a lot of years. There was a lot of oppositional defiance. There was reactive attachment. There was ADHD. There was anxiety disorder. There were people who were struggling to be able to communicate because they had sensory issues and high levels of attachment problems with other people. These were scenarios that maybe not everybody gets to deal with all the time. And the same skills that I taught my children that were little babies learning how to govern themselves, I used with those troubled teens to help them as well. So let's talk about some of those behaviors. Some behaviors include talking back, yelling, explosively raging perhaps, maybe not knowing how to accept disappointment, or not knowing how to self-regulate yourself. Maybe the child doesn't help out or they don't follow instructions from parents. The list could go on and on. And this book right here, Parenting a House United, which was my first book. I've written 15 books now, but this book right here is by far probably the most widely read, and it's kind of an essential in the whole set of teaching self-government curriculums and trainings. Some people call this the Bible of parenting because they just can't live without it. The Teaching Self-Government program is a program designed for the most difficult behaviors. Behaviors that sometimes I didn't even know existed until they came into my home. And the same skills and principles worked for those behaviors. So I want to tell you a little bit about what teaching self-government even means. Self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. So what that means is that you understand cause and effect as it relates to your own behavior, and you take the time to plan out what you want your behavior to be like. And then you assess yourself regularly so that you can plan for the best outcomes for yourself and for others. Ideally, when a person is self-governed, they give themselves instructions and follow through. They give themselves no answers and follow through. They correct themselves when needed, and they can disagree appropriately with others. They can also calm themselves down when needed and help others go from being dysregulated to calm as well, because their calmness is so good. So how do you even do that? And for all ages. Let's talk about that. If you've already subscribed to this channel, then you know that I am a big fan of pre-teaching what should happen ahead of time so that we can actually know which way we're headed and then analyzing as we go. But we have to have something to quantify if we're going to analyze. What could we measure? Well, we can measure skills. So I teach a lot of skills on this channel and in my teaching self-government trainings. The 4 basic skills are the foundational skills of self-government, and they need to be learned by all ages. These 4 basic skills actually take care of 99% of behavioral problems if parents are consistent enough in doing the pre-teaching and correction of these skills when needed. The 4 basic skills are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. These skills each have steps associated with them. I call those steps skill sets. If you learn all of the steps to the skills, you can pinpoint the exact thing that might need adjusting or correcting so that you don't have to spend your time getting emotional with your child. So let's just take following instructions, for instance. If a child will not follow your instructions, then you can't parent them because it actually undermines the roles within your family relationship. So, how do you follow instructions? You look at the person, you keep a calm face, voice, and body, you say okay to the instruction, or you disagree appropriately, then you do the task immediately and then check back. So if you're a person that gets distracted a lot or you dawdle, then you would be corrected for not doing the task immediately and checking back. If you're a person who has higher levels of anxiety, or maybe you just don't like to take ownership over your own behaviors, or you're a little bit more explosive by nature because you haven't learned how to get calm yet, then probably you'll have a hard time with keeping a calm face, voice, and body, in which case you will then be corrected and helped. You'll be corrected and be given the opportunity to practice having a calm face, voice, and body as you work on that skill after the correction. I could go into each one of the steps and why they're all important. But the point I'm trying to make here is you deliberately teach those ahead of time. All those skills and other skills that are helpful, you teach to your children ahead of time. You even teach them your own parenting skills. So the skills that are in this book that tell you how to do a proper correction while maintaining your own calmness, how to help them go from dysregulation to regulation if you're trying to help them have calmness and not lose your calmness at the same time. You teach your children the exact words that you will say, and then you use them. That predictability decreases their anxiety and makes it so that they're more apt to be able to succeed at using those skills in your home. Another thing that's talked about in the Teaching Self-Government program is the deliberate planning and meeting times that happen. So there's multiple meetings that our family has in order to help the children take ownership over solving the problems at home and bringing them back to an understanding of why their self-government skills are so important and powerful. Having meetings empowers them to use their self-government skills again and again. We also teach proper problem solving and create rules and standards for the family so that they know exactly what's expected of them. But one of the key things we do, in fact, it's one of the first things we do before we start any of the other skills training, is we make a plan for what type of a family we want to become. In this book here, we call it a family vision. We create a picture in the future of what type of family we will have. This year, when I'm making this video, was our family vision year. We worked on our family vision as a family for 20 years. And then, finally, we got to the point this year where it was our time to have that family vision. Part of the vision was that we would all be good friends, that we would talk about important things, that our relationships would feel close and healthy, and that we would enjoy each other's company and look forward to spending time together. And you know what? This Christmas Eve, which was our family vision day, that vision came true. Now, was it exactly perfect down to every single detail of decoration and food? Nah, some of the details weren't there, but all of the key components, the reason that we were making the family vision, they were there, and it was beautiful. Now, every other year, did we have it perfect every time? No, not always, but we knew where we were headed, and so our family relationships just naturally went in that direction. We talked about it, we lived it, and the reason why we worked on all of the skills was because that was our why. What is your why for your family? What are you working toward? Or are you just living in the moment? Because if you really want to be a successful parent, if you want your children to overcome those bad behaviors, you can't spend your days just talking about behaviors. There has to be more to your relationship than that. And if you find a system to handle the behavior, then you can talk about all of the other things that are more meaningful, that will strengthen your relationships and your bonds forever. There is a class, it's a full-length class here on this channel that is designed to help you get a little bit of a sneak peek into some more of the things in this book, and it's called The Not-So-Known Secret for Parenting Success. So go to that video next, learn more about the skills and principles of self-government so that you can start using them at your house. Click on the link to that video next. I'll see you there.